Reading through the Bible, Exodus chapter 2, verse 11. Moses flees to Midian. One day after Moses had grown up, he went out to where his own people were and watched them at their hard labor. He saw an Egyptian beating a Hebrew, one of his own people. Glancing this way and that and seeing no one, he killed the Egyptian and hid him in the sand. The next day he went out and saw two Hebrews fighting. He asked the one in the wrong, "Why are you hitting your fellow Hebrew?" The man said, "Who made you the ruler and judge over us? Are you thinking of killing me as you killed the Egyptian?" Then Moses was afraid and thought, "What I did must have become known." When Pharaoh heard of this, he tried to kill Moses. But Moses fled from Pharaoh and went to live in Midian, where he sat down by a well. Now a priest of Midian had 7 daughters, and they came to draw water and fill the troughs to water their father's flock. Some shepherds came along and drove them away. But Moses got up and came to their rescue and watered their flock. When the girls returned to Reuel, their father, he asked them, "Why have you returned so early today?" They answered, "An Egyptian rescued us from the shepherds. He even drew water for us and watered the flock." "And where is he?" he asked his daughters. "Why did you leave him? Invite him to have something to eat." Moses agreed to stay with the man who gave his daughter Zipporah to Moses in marriage. Zipporah gave birth to a son, and Moses named him Gershom, saying, "I have become an alien in a foreign land." During that long period, the king of Egypt died. The Israelites groaned in their slavery and cried out, and their cry for help because of their slavery went up to God. God heard their groaning, and he remembered his covenant with Abraham, and with Isaac, and with Jacob. So God looked on the Israelites and was concerned about them. Now Moses was tending the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian, and he led the flock to the far side of the desert and came to Horeb, the mountain of God. There the angel of the Lord appeared to him in flames of fire from within a bush. Moses saw that though the bush was on fire, it did not burn up. So Moses thought, "I will go over and see this strange sight, why the bush does not burn up." When the Lord saw that he had gone over to look, God called to him from within the bush, "Moses, Moses." And Moses said, "Here I am." "Do not come any closer," God said. "Take off your sandals, for the place where you are standing is holy ground." Then he said, "I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob." At this, Moses hid his face because he was afraid to look at God. The Lord said, "I have indeed seen the misery of my people in Egypt. I have heard them crying out because of their slave drivers, and I am concerned about their suffering. So I have come down to rescue them from the hand of the Egyptians and to bring them out of that land into a good and spacious land, a land flowing with milk and honey, the home of the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites. And now the cry of the Israelites has reached me, and I have seen the way the Egyptians are oppressing them. So now go, I am sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people, the Israelites, out of Egypt. But Moses said to God, who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the Israelites out of Egypt? And God said, I will be with you, and this will be the sign to you that it is I who have sent you. When you have brought the people out of Egypt, you will worship God on this mountain. Moses said to God, suppose I go to the Israelites and say to them, the God of your fathers has sent me to you, and they ask me, what is his name? Then what shall I tell them? God said to Moses, I am who I am. This is what you are to say to the Israelites. I am has sent me to you. God also said to Moses, say to the Israelites, the Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, has sent me to you. This is my name forever, the name by which I am to be remembered from generation to generation. Go, assemble the elders of Israel and say to them, the Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, appeared to me and said, I have watched over you and have seen what has been done to you in Egypt. And I have promised to bring you up out of your misery in Egypt into the land of the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites, a land flowing with milk and honey. The elders of Israel will listen to you. Then you and the elders are to go to the king of Egypt and say to him, the Lord, the God of the Hebrews, has met with us. Let us take a 3-day journey into the desert to offer sacrifices to the Lord our God. But I know that the king of Egypt will not let you go unless a mighty hand compels him. So I will stretch out my hand and strike the Egyptians with all the wonders that I will perform among them. After that, he will let you go. And I will make the Egyptians favorably disposed toward this people, so that when you leave, you will not go empty-handed. Every woman is to ask her neighbor, and any woman living in her house, for articles of silver and gold, and for clothing, which you will put on your sons and daughters. And so you will plunder the Egyptians. So God has promised that he is going to be with the Hebrews. He is going to bring them out of Egypt. Moses is married to a Cushite woman, also a Midianite woman. Later in the text, she is going to be called a Cushite. She is the same one that Moses, he married here, Zipporah. And she gave birth to a son and named him Gershom. And this is, I have become an alien in a foreign land. That's what the name means. Then Moses is tending the flock of his father-in-law Jethro, and he is in the far side of the desert, came to Horeb. Horeb is a word which means dry, and it's called the mountain of God. And the angel appeared to him in the flame of a bush. He noticed that the bush was on fire, but the bush didn't burn up. So this was strange to him. because oftentimes, spontaneously, the bush will catch on fire and it will burn up. But here, in this case, it didn't. So he went to see why this was happening. And God then calls him. He tells him that he is on holy ground and that he is to take off his sandals. Then he also tells him that he's going to send him to Egypt. Now, there was a sermon that I heard once by Oswald Hoffman of the Lutheran Hour that was entitled, God Calls and Man Stalls. Now that's what happens. God calls Moses, and Moses thinks of a number of reasons why he is unable to go and fulfill the task that God has given. For one thing, he is not anybody at all. He has left Egypt. He's left all of that culture. He's living in Midian, and he doesn't think that he is capable of carrying out this task. He also tells God that he is slow of speech. It may be that he stutters, but there's some way that his speech is not proficient enough that he thinks he is capable of doing the task that God gives him. He also asks, what is the name of God? Now, in the book of Genesis, God is revealed to Abraham as El Shaddai. He is Adonai, which means Lord. But by the name of Yahweh, or I am, he has not been made known before. And so Moses is told, my name is I am. And it's interesting in the New Testament, when Jesus uses this same term, I am, he is identifying himself with God, that he and God are one and the same. God convinces Moses that he is going to be with him and he is going to see to it that Pharaoh lets them go, but prophesies that it's not going to be easy. Pharaoh is going to refuse, and God is going to have to do something drastic in order to bring this about. And it says that he also is going to make the Egyptians favorable. It's common in the ancient time, and we see this in many of the stories, that when a person is living in a foreign country, when he leaves, the people give them gifts as they leave. And this is what is going to happen here, that the Egyptians will pile gifts upon the Hebrews when they are about to leave. You'll notice that when Moses approaches the bush, that God tells him to remove his sandals because he is on holy ground. This happens several times. It happens with Joshua when he sees the angel of God, and the angel tells him, take off your sandals because you are standing on holy ground. It looks like that this is a sign that you are not supposed to use shoes, as we would say, when you are standing on holy ground, but it is to be the bare feet of the individual. And this happens several times.